And a lot of you guys have been talking about my neighbor's cow and how she doesn't have a barn, so I wanted to just show you that my neighbor got like a little trailer, cattle hauler, and he parked it and he's using that as a barn. And there she is right now. You can see she's halfway inside that trailer, so just wanted to share that with you guys. So there's some good news to share with you. I know I share a lot of negative news, but it's always nice to see people caring for their animals. What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. Just wanted to talk to you guys real quick about what I'm doing to prepare for the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the possibility of World War III. So the first most important thing that you need to do to prepare is not to panic. I don't try to scare people with my videos. I just try to inform people. And I know sometimes the way that I make my videos, the way that I title them, it's kind of scary when you watch them, but you know, I'm trying to do that to bring awareness to the seriousness of the situation and motivate you guys to prepare. That's why I do that. I'm not trying to get you guys to panic, and I'm not trying to sell you stuff and make money off of fear or anything like that. But this is a very serious situation, what's happening right now in Ukraine. This is the largest deployment of troops on the border of another country since World War II. Russia has 130,000 troops on the border of Ukraine, okay? That's the most since World War II. If this war breaks out, we're talking about probably the biggest war since World War II. So, and it could even get worse than World War II. We don't know. You know, once the Russian tanks cross the border of Ukraine, anything can happen. We don't know how far this can go and where it's going to end. I know Biden is saying that we're not going to put troops into Ukraine, but we've heard that so many times from numerous politicians, not just Biden, but numerous U.S. presidents. That's how Vietnam started. You know, Vietnam, during the Vietnam War, they had special forces and CIA SOG in Southeast Asia as early as the late 50s. So they were in Vietnam for years before we actually deployed forces into Vietnam. And that's basically what's been happening in Ukraine. We've had U.S. special forces training the Ukrainians for, I don't know, the last, 6 years, 8 years, something like that. And who knows what kind of assets we have in Ukraine. You know, we're saying publicly that we only have 3,000 troops being deployed now, for a total of 5,000 actually, 5,082nd Airborne in Poland right now, just 45 miles from the Ukrainian border, 5,082nd Airborne. That's just what we're saying publicly, guys. You know, there's a lot of other assets that are on the border of Ukraine and possibly in Ukraine. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some black ops, mercenaries, missile defenses. I wouldn't be surprised if there were Patriot missiles, if there were even THAAD launchers in Ukraine. And so we don't know where this situation is going to go, how far it's going to go. So I wanted to just talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm doing to prepare and what you should do to prepare. So number one thing, like I said, don't panic. You know, panic is the worst thing that you can do. Now's not the time to panic. Now's the time to make good, rational decisions. Okay, so one of the first things that I started to do was make sure I have room in my basement for a hasty fallout shelter in case it goes nuclear. I cleared out some space in my basement. I actually just moved here to Pennsylvania. For those of you guys who haven't really been following me for a while or are new to my channel, I moved to Pennsylvania last summer. So I still have a lot of my preps that are not fully unpacked and not fully organized. like I had everything organized in New York. So what I've been doing is just spending time organizing everything, making sure everything is labeled so I know what I have in each box, you know, because I have, you know, dozens and dozens of boxes and crates and ammo cans and, you know, just simple things like that, labeling everything, organizing everything, so this way if I need something I can quickly get it. I had all that done in New York, but then with the move here, and then, you know, with my dad getting diagnosed with cancer, you know, I kind of pushed a lot of that stuff on the back burner. But that's what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm just organizing everything. But like I said, make sure you make room in your basement just in case this goes nuclear. You're going to want to go into your basement and spend up to 2 weeks in your basement to survive the fallout. Fallout is going to be the biggest threat to you if this whole situation goes nuclear. Unless you live near a big city or a nuclear target, then you got to worry about overpressure and thermal radiation. But for most Americans, you know, most Americans don't live near a nuclear target. So most Americans, our biggest concern is fallout radiation. Even if the warheads land, you know, 50 miles, 100 miles, 200 miles away from you, the fallout is still going to reach you. So you need to have a plan for a fallout shelter. And I'm going to be uploading a video tomorrow on finding a suitable fallout shelter. I'm going to continue with my How to Survive a Nuclear War series. I've already done 6 videos. They're each about an hour to an hour and a half long. And I highly recommend you guys watch those videos and get caught up on nuclear war survival skills. I've done 6 videos on that so far, and a total of, I think I have like 25 videos on nuclear war survival. Okay, so I have plenty of useful information on my channel. You can also go to other channels, other resources. Southern Prepper 1, I want to shout him out. Southern Prepper 1 is one of the other large prepping channels that's, you know, really trying to get people thinking about nuclear war survival. So I want to give him a big shout out and a big thanks to Southern Prepper 1. If you guys want to learn a little bit about nuclear war survival, you got him, you got me. You got some books. You can get yourself books on it. Nuclear War Survival Skills is a great book. But I will be uploading some more nuclear war survival videos tomorrow and in the coming days, because it looks like this invasion is going to start any day now. So think about where you're going to shelter if there's a nuclear war. You know, a basement is the best case scenario. A full basement that's underground is your best case scenario. You'll get a protection factor of 10. A typical residential wood frame house with a full basement, you're going to get about a protection factor of 10 in your basement, which means that you're going to reduce the radiation from outside by 90% just by going into your basement. Okay, now there's some other things that you need to do to you know, kind of fortify your basement a little bit more, like covering the windows in your basement and any openings with dirt or sandbags or blocks or bricks, whatever dense material you have available. But, you know, clear out room in your basement for the possibility of having a fallout shelter in case you have to shelter in your basement for up to 2 weeks. It's going to take 2 weeks for the fallout to subside to safe levels. Okay, so you need to be ready to sit in your basement for up to 2 weeks, okay, while the radiation subsides. And it will subside, but you do have to remain sheltered in your basement for 2 weeks. After the first few days, you can go outside and do some limited chores outside, but you really don't want to go outside the first couple of days because the radiation is going to be extremely high. And I talk about all this in my How to Survive a Nuclear War series. Okay, I've done 6 videos so far. I'm going to upload probably 3 more by Friday. Okay, just packed full of detailed information. So check out my nuclear war survival playlist and my How to Survive a Nuclear War series if you want to learn more details about that. But think about your basement. If you don't have a basement, think about other structures in your area that you can get to, relatively close. You don't want to find a structure that's 50 miles away because you might not make it there. You want something that's within a couple of miles, within 5 or 10 miles, maybe 20 miles, something that you can realistically get to and bring your supplies into, that you can use as a fallout shelter. Basements of buildings, different buildings, and I'm going to talk about that in more detail in my video, which will be uploaded tomorrow. Some other things that I'm doing is just making sure I have enough toothpaste. That sounds kind of funny, but toothpaste and dental stuff, floss and toothbrushes, medicines, making sure I have just basic medicines like ibuprofen, acetaminophen, just basic stuff like that, but this is a very serious situation, guys. We don't know where this is going to go. I hope that maybe Putin has a change of heart at the last minute and he decides not to invade. That would be the best thing. But if he does invade, this is a very, very serious situation here that we have going on right now. So like I said, prep your basement, stock up on medical supplies, stock up on dental hygiene. I know that sounds kind of funny, but if you don't take care of your mouth, you can get infections, you can get all kinds of things that can lead to other issues. So medical stuff, don't panic. A lot of people have been hoarding fuel because they think fuel is going to go up, and that's a good idea, but just make sure wherever you're storing your fuel that it's not in an area that can blow up, because if you're storing hundreds of gallons of fuel, all it takes is a heat source or a spark, and you're going to have a massive explosion. So don't store hundreds of gallons of fuel in your house. There's no point, really. I mean, if we go into a nuclear war or some kind of grid down situation, you're not going to really be driving anyway. You're pretty much going to be sheltering in place or bugging in, and even if you have to bug out, you're not going to need 100 gallons of fuel. So that's just my recommendation. Don't worry so much about the fuel. There's not much you can really do about that. But, there's a high possibility that we could get hit with cyber attacks. Russia could target our power grid and take down our power grid. That's very, very likely. We've seen it happen. In other countries, they targeted Ukraine a couple of years back. They took down an entire power plant in Ukraine, and there was a whole part of Ukraine that lost power. So they could hit us with a cyber attack. They could do anything, really, up to and including nuclear war. So also, like I said, organize everything. Make sure you have everything ready to go, so you're not fumbling through all your preps and trying to figure out where everything is. You want everything organized, labeled, and staged. Okay, staged meaning that if you have to evacuate, you want to have all your stuff ready to go so you can quickly toss it in your vehicle and get out of Dodge. Okay, when you get an alert that there's incoming missiles, it's not going to be the time to start, rummaging through all your supplies and figuring out what you want to bring. Okay, you got to do all that stuff now. Okay, so get everything organized, get everything labeled, stage everything so you can easily grab things that you need. And going back to the fallout shelter and your basement, what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that you have at least 2 weeks of water. Okay, and the reason why is that water is going to become contaminated or irradiated after a nuclear war. So a lot of people have been emailing me and asking me, is food going to be safe? Is water going to be safe after a nuclear war? And the short answer is yes, it will be safe, in the sense that if you're starving to death and you haven't eaten anything in a week, and all you have is some irradiated food laying around, it's better to eat that irradiated food and take a chance that you might get cancer 20 years down the road than it is to just starve to death, you know. But the simple solution is just store 2 or 3 weeks of water in your basement. You know, go to the store and buy 30 gallons of water and just put it in your basement, and then you don't have to worry about it getting irradiated. Make sure you have at least 2 to 3 weeks of food and water in case you have to shelter in your basement to ride out the fallout. Okay, make sure you have 2 to 3 weeks of nutritious food. Vitamin C is also a big one. Make sure you have vitamin C, because a lot of emergency foods don't have vitamin C, and vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin. And if you're sheltered in your basement for 2 weeks and you're not getting, you know, proper vitamins, you know, from canned foods or freeze-dried foods, make sure you have some multivitamins and some vitamin C especially. Your water-soluble vitamins are the ones that your body eliminates first, because they're water-soluble, they're not stored in the fat. So all your water-soluble vitamins, micronutrients, make sure you have vitamins and minerals on hand. But make sure you have 2 to 3 weeks of food minimum. You know, this is a prepping channel, and I always recommend that you have 3 months or more of food. But if you're just starting out in prepping, go to the store now and buy 20 or 30 gallons of water. Buy 2 to 3 weeks worth of food and put it in your basement and leave it there, okay? And when you have that food in your basement, it's not going to get irradiated by the nuclear fallout, all right? So that's pretty much what I'm doing. If you have firearms, make sure your firearms are sighted in. You know, if you have time in the next couple of days, go to the range and confirm your zero. Get all your defensive weapons and take a few shots with each one. Make sure that the zero is good, you know, especially if you have optics. Iron sights, it's not as critical. You know, just think about all the little odds and ends and get it squared away. You know, stock up on whatever you need to get now, because I guarantee you, once this war breaks out, you know, whether it's Wednesday, Thursday, they're saying on Wednesday it's going to happen, but I guarantee you, once this war breaks out, you're going to have a hard time finding anything, okay? It's going to be like the first lockdown, when there was a big ammo shortage, much worse than the shortage now, when there was, you know, you couldn't find toilet paper, you couldn't find anything. That could happen again if this war breaks out, especially if Putin tries to go for Kiev. That could very well happen. And like I've said before, guys, I really don't believe that NATO and the United States are going to let Putin just take the capital. That's why they have 5,000 paratroopers right on the border of Ukraine. Okay, they might intervene, and if they intervene, it's going to escalate, and we don't know where it could go from there. So, you know, stock up on everything that you need now. Get everything you need now while you still can, before there's shortages, before there's panic buying, because we know that 90% of Americans are not prepared. 90% of Americans have not more than 2 weeks worth of food and a couple boxes of ammo. That's what most Americans have in their house. So don't be that guy, you know, stock up on everything now, you know, so you're not running low later on things that you need. I personally just bought a couple hundred rounds of ammo for all variety of different firearms that I have. I've been stocking up on different things, you know, so get yourselves prepared, guys. I'm going to be dropping those nuclear war survival videos in the coming days. If you haven't seen my How to Survive a Nuclear War series yet, check it out. I'll leave a link at the top of this video. It's in my playlists section. Go to my nuclear war survival playlist or my How to Survive a Nuclear War series playlist. Check out Southern Prepper 1. He's covering this. And don't really focus too much, you know, don't focus too much on the news. You know, don't waste your time. Time is precious, you know. If this invasion happens on Wednesday, you know, we could be looking at a world war by Friday, okay? Possibly missiles coming here by Saturday. I hope it doesn't happen, but anything is possible. That's why we're preppers, guys. You know, we prepare for everything. We don't just prepare for one thing. We have to be prepared for anything, you know. And also, I want to just make a quick statement. You know, I'm not a big fan of our president right now, as some of you guys may know. I'm a conservative. I'm a registered Republican since the age of 18. I was baptized when I was a toddler, a lifelong Christian. But I will say that if we do go to war, I will stand with our president, even if I disagree with him on politics, because at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And if you attack an American, you're attacking me. I don't care, you know, who the president is, whether it's Biden or Trump. We got to show a united front against our enemies. And now's the time for us to unite and not be divided, you know. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, all Americans, and an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. So I will stand behind our president if this thing escalates, because that's all we got, you know. He's not the best. You know, do I wish we had Reagan now? Do I wish we had Roosevelt or JFK or Lincoln? Of course, you know. Trump, you know, of course I wish that we had one of these presidents, but we don't. So we have to make do with what we have, and we have to support our president as best as we can, because if we trash our president, that's what our enemy wants us to do. Our enemy wants us to trash our president and bash him, and when we do that, we give power to our enemies. You know, we give power to China, to Russia, to Iran. You know, I'm not saying that you have to be a Biden supporter and you have to, you know, fly his you know, let's go Biden flag in front of your house or get bumper stickers for him. I'm just saying that when you bash our president in a wartime scenario, you're helping the enemy out. Even if you disagree with the president, now's not the time to really go out there and start bashing him. We have to, you know, unite together. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll be uploading those nuclear war videos soon, and I'll continue to update you guys on the situation as it unfolds. So take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.